In this new video, you can see the scope of the devastation in Paradise. ABC News today was given the first aerial tour with the California National Guard. A landscape of destruction just as far as the eye can see. Then suddenly, scattered buildings untouched by the flames. These tragedies sometimes can be so indiscriminate.
All right, so here it is. Here's the Campfire Information Drone Imaging website. Completely interactive 360-degree images. Look at this. I found a building that actually has debris and rubble, because most of these seems like it's already cleared out, you know. This is just like burnt to the ground. Really not much left. I don't see a toilet. Oh, there's a chimney. Okay. Brick. Oh, another chimney. Some rubble. That looks like another chimney. But, I mean, look at that. So it burned all the underbrush, but those are shrubs. Those are shrubs right there. And there's even a bush right there. And it looks like this house was reduced to rubble. This house back here. And why is that bush still there? I mean, if it came through and swept up all the underbrush, didn't catch any of the trees on fire, didn't even burn the shrubs in between the houses that it leveled. That makes no sense, okay? How long does it take for a house to burn down? You know? Let's say not very fast. Let's just say it takes about 20 minutes. Do you think that shrub would catch on fire while this wall is burning down? I mean, do you think it might? If you're that close to fire? I mean, you couldn't even stand right there without getting burnt, without feeling the heat on your skin. And how is that little shrub? Oh, because it was wet. Yeah, everyone just wet all their trees before this fire came, right? I mean, it was dry. There hadn't been any rain. So why on earth is there shrubs right there? I mean, yeah, this looks singed. It looks a different color, like orange, and then you can see the green right there. But why is that bush still there? Where is the entry point? I mean, this looks like dark, you know, fire burned right there, but it doesn't look like it burned right there. That's brown, like a layer of pine needles, like some underbrush. That house completely taken out. Look at all the foliage. Look at all the foliage. I mean, how did the fire get in there and not burn those shrubs? Okay, it took that tree. It went all the way up there. That looks normal. This tree took down that tree. Took the foliage off that tree. I mean, this fire is just very selective, very strange. Okay, so it looks like it got really hot here. It actually burned the trees here in between. But, I mean, you zoom all the way out, and it's just interesting because it doesn't really look like a town that was just ravaged by a huge fire. Oh, some chemtrail wisps. smoke, haze. You know, look at this. Selective fires. I mean, go and look at this for yourselves. Like, go to this website. I'll put the link up. There's rubble, buildings, rubble, road, rubble. All these trees taken out. I wonder if they cut those trees to make a fire line. I don't think they had time. I mean, till they came back. Let's go to a different spot. Okay, are you ready for this? I'm gonna surprise you here. Oh, it's freezing up on me now. Come on. Okay. Look at that. It's a house. Oh, you can see like cinder blocks, I think. I wonder where the toilet is. Can we find toilets? The toilets? I don't know. Huh. Well, that's interesting. Look at those trees right there in the middle. Burned down the houses all the way around. And how long does it take to burn down a house? What did we decide? 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes? You think if all these houses were in flames, burning to the ground, the fire would get a little bit closer to those trees. I mean, I guess if you couldn't evacuate in time, you could just stand next to that tree and you'd make it out of the fire. You'd survive, right? I mean, next time there's a fire, I'm just gonna hang out by the tree. Right? I mean, take your pick. Okay? So this looks a little more normal. The black on the trees, right? Okay, so there's some black trees. Looks like the Black Forest. But, I mean, these are really, it's just really flat. And then, why? Look at these buildings. Look at those. Why is that? Why are they still? Why? What on earth? I mean, okay, you know, should have gone to Joe's house. Look, Joe's house is fine. I mean, had we known, I mean, and all these houses, look, they look very similar. Like they were all built around the same time. Probably same year, same material. So what on earth made these ones burn down, but not these? And the tree right there? That's fine, but, oh, that one's a skeleton. Boom. What is going on here? And then you can see there's rubble all back there behind all those houses. I mean, these are the lucky ones, right? These are the lucky ones. They have all their belongings. Look at that. Look at that. Rubble. Trees, house, rubble, houses, rubble. Come on, man. You know, ask everyone you know Do you know any firefighters in the family? Do you know any fire behavior analysts? Do you know any people who worked around fire that can tell you this is not normal? Okay? Go to this website and just see for yourself. That's not normal. That makes no sense. Oh my. Alright, went to another one. What is this orange thing over here? Okay, look at this car. That car looks like the carport or the garage burnt down around it. The whole thing burnt down together. That car is like melted into the ground with the garage on top of it. But these trees are fine. Oh, little propane tank. Didn't blow up. Didn't blow up. Alright, well this looks normal right here, but that's not. This tree is torched. That tree is only halfway torched, but the fire was on both sides of it. The fire was all around those trees. Look at that. Oh, look at this beautiful green tree right here. Beautiful green tree. But had garage burnt right here, burnt right there. What is going on? Okay, so look, all these buildings just went up in smoke, up in flames. But we have these nice little green trees right here. Alright, I have seen enough. This is unbelievable. Look at all these colors. You got the skeleton trees over here. This is the area where the trees wanted to burn, apparently. You know, this is where they were like, okay, I guess we're trees, I guess we'll burn. But then this tree was like, no, I'm not sure. I don't think I want to burn today. You know, how about you guys just go ahead and I'll hang out here with my friends. But, you know, take out these houses because, you know, it's like nature's taking over. It's like nature's like, we don't want the houses anymore. Let's just go back to nature. You know, this is like now a wildlife preserve and we got rid of all but a few buildings, you know, completely destroyed and leveled by the flames, engulfed in the flames, reduced to ash. But in the middle of all of it, just a lone building, just a lone tree left standing when everything else around it burnt to the ground. It had enough time to burn everything else around it to the ground, and it didn't think for once that it would just catch on fire like everything else, huh? Alright, I've seen enough. No, okay, I'm not done. I'm not done because I just realized I started looking at this map again. There's all this area here where they didn't do the 360, and I know this is a lot of work, mapping all of this out with the drones, but they clustered right here and right here and right here. I mean, maybe they just went to the places with the worst damage, but I want to know what's going on in this area right here. And you know, I'm recognizing some of the street names from the audio recording I have of the police scanner 6 hours after the fire started. So scary. I remember Clark Road. Remember they were saying something about Edgewood, people stuck. Pearson. I think I remember that. Talking about right there. And there, they didn't do a 360 right there. Huh. School. I don't know the town of Paradise. I've only been there a few times when I was a kid. My great-grandmother lived there. She passed away a few years ago. Thank goodness she didn't have to be here for that. Okay, so I went to this hangar. This is very strange. Okay, this is, whoa, so selective. Does that look like a wildfire? I mean, okay, does anyone know anything about fire? It travels in like a blanket. It blankets an area. It doesn't travel like a piece of Swiss cheese, you know? It doesn't say, I'm gonna burn down this and leave this, burn down that, leave that, burn down that. Oh my goodness. This is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Oh, look at the alien aircraft. Just kidding. It's a glitch in the matrix. No, just a drone glitch. But this is not. This is real. What I'm looking at is real, okay? These are some people driving crews. What is that? PG&E trucks. They got the blue PG&E, right? PG&E working on the power lines. Looks like. Are these power lines? Oh, they got PG&E. Interesting. Interesting. My goodness. I mean, this doesn't seem strange to anyone. It seems strange to a lot of people. So, I mean, check it out. Oh, look, more PG&E trucks. This is... What? Look at this building. This one's gone. This whole building burnt down. But the shrubs next to it didn't burn. This tree caught fire, but this house is fine. I mean, what? They just got a little singed? You mean to tell me that this whole building turned to ash? It burned to ash and this just got a little singed right here? What? I mean, good Lord. Oh, look, there's a police car. What's he doing in the parking lot there? He's probably tripping out like I am. What? Look at this nice parking lot. All this green brush. Fire did not travel here, but it was right there. Right there. Look at all these PG&E trucks. I spot more blue. See, they're working on the power lines everywhere. I mean, did they have the whole town closed off right now? Are they letting people back to look at this for themselves? This is strange. Okay, I gotta stop. This video is gonna go on forever. Please check it out for yourselves and let me know if you find anything weird. Upload it. start a YouTube channel. Send it to me. You know, just, we need to ask what's going on here. Now I think it's time for some footage of how I think fire is supposed to behave. What I know, I'm not an expert, but I mean, it's common sense, right? Okay, I am seriously fixated on these fires, and I need to take a break. But I just found the drone operators, and why do they appear to be in uniform? The drone operators are police, apparently. They're surveying the damage. I didn't know they were, I thought they were, well, police do operate drones now. It's very common for a police department to have drones and use them at work. Yes, they do. So, look at these. They don't look like the cop cars. It doesn't look like the other cop car. These look like undercover, unmarked SUVs. Police, unmarked SUV police vehicles. So, I mean, they're standing in the middle of this road here with a drone on the ground. Someone's got a drone above that. I mean, it's probably their drone. And we can see here there's more destruction. You can tell this is where the buildings burned to the ground. I mean, you can see all the like light spots. You can tell exactly what has burned and what has not. And it's just so strange because look at this building right here. I mean, look at these trees and look at all these buildings that are just completely leveled. I mean, there's nothing normal about this. I mean, I really want to encourage people because there's no way I can cover all this footage and look at all the drone shots because there's just so many. But it's interesting. I clicked on this and I found what looks like law enforcement standing in the street taking drone footage. I mean, they're clearly in uniform. I can't even get the plate. That is a Chevy symbol, I believe. Yep. So let's see what else we can find. I mean, this is crazy. I have to stop. I have to take a break, okay? All right.
Design for Disaster. The story of the Bel Air conflagration. Santa Ana. Indians named it Santana, the devil wind. When it blows, plants wither, trees and brush become crackling dry, atmosphere grows tense, oppressive. People tire easily, argue more. Even the suicide rate rises during the months of the Santa Ana. Warm, dry. This climate plays an important part in attracting over 3,000 people a month to the city of Los Angeles to become permanent residents. To settle into hotels, apartments, homes along the coast, inland throughout the central residential sections to the far reaches of the valley areas. And some move up to the scenic, secluded hill areas, where lush California vegetation softens the ridges and valleys for miles in every direction, and breezes blow clean through native growth. And increasingly strong during the late fall months of the Santa Ana, and dangerously dry when there has been no rain. It is during this unstable period that firemen most fear the potential. The potential of 134 square miles of thick, dry chaparral and oak, all within the city boundaries of Los Angeles, classed by experts as the fastest burning ground cover in the Western Hemisphere. And nestled in that cover, one of the greatest concentrations of high-value homes in America. A serious problem in fire protection under even the best of conditions. On November 7th, the morning sun reveals the ruins of what yesterday were homes and trees and irreplaceable possessions. Now fireplaces stand as tombstones over row upon row of dead homes on dead streets. 484 times, fire proved its deadly efficiency by incinerating in a few roaring minutes what families had taken years to acquire. 6,090 acres of blackened hills, canyons, and neighborhoods. Over 3,000 men, 240 fire vehicles, and 16 aircraft tried to stop it. Did stop it, but only after a hard driving Santa Ana died down and gave them a chance. They broke the fire's back in 12 hours, saved over 2,200 homes, a major college. Not one single life was lost. Not one critical burn case reported. Firemen had set a new record according to national fire experts. But still, people wonder. Fire victims, as well as those who merely read about the fire, ask the same question.
How can a brush fire get so far out of control within a well-protected city and do the things it does?
Let's analyze this fire and see what did happen. Some phases are difficult to explain. Why is a framework of bare wood left unharmed in a furnace of heat that crumbles masonry around it? Why does a roaring fire suddenly stop in heavy brush as if cut by a knife? Why do flames spare one house and consume identical dwellings on all sides? A general pattern of fire behavior, however, can be explained. When a brush fire is traveling downhill, it is most receptive to extinguishment. A wide clearance around a house gives firemen a break to make a stop, provided water is available, provided winds do not start spot fires across the canyon, and combustible roofs do not ignite from falling embers. The fire preheats canyons to ignition temperatures. As flames move uphill, the reaction can be almost explosive. A parallel to this reaction is demonstrated with a branch from a specimen of hillside brush. Held upright with fire moving downward, the fire travels slowly. But reverse the situation. Place the fuel above the fire. On a hill fire, burning brands carry over the top to start spot fires on the opposite side. Where those spot fires merge with the original blaze, you'll see fire that leaves only chimneys and brickwork. And no amount of wetting down can stop it. Now let's take another look at fire in action. Brush fires create their own wind. Turbulence and heat bring winds of tornado velocity. Erratic, twisting, treacherous, and unpredictable. Even seasoned news cameramen can be trapped. Where these fire drafts are further compounded by the Santa Ana, results can be disastrous. On the morning of November 6th, Santa Ana winds were moving in a southwesterly direction from desert to coast. At the same time, numerous ridges of the Santa Monica's were channeling ground winds almost due south. So it was that winds were traveling in two directions at the time of the fire. When the fire reached Bel Air and consumed homes in such numbers that firestorms resulted, thermal heat lifted burning shingles and brands 2,000 to 3,000 feet in the air. Caught in the upper-level wind currents, these burning brands were carried well over a mile across Sepulveda to rain down onto the Brentwood area. Scores of spot fires began spreading to present a new crisis. This action is demonstrated in these pictures taken by UCLA's meteorological department. Now the same picture increased to many times its original speed. Deep within the smoke, burning shingles carry 1.5 miles to start new fires, as shown by black smoke columns, which grow to join the main fire, approaching from the east. This leapfrog phenomenon, coupled with powerful ground winds, created a unique fire problem. As one of the nation's foremost conflagration experts puts it,
no one has ever faced this problem before. No definite line of defense could be found, and when a chain reaction of this type occurs, a fire department can do nothing more than pick out individual houses and try to save them.
but even in such attempts to save individual homes, firemen are further thwarted by the loss of water. How can a modern water system properly designed to meet emergency fire conditions fail to function? Let's look at this simplified diagram of houses on a hill being supplied by a water tank above. When thousands of outlets are opened below the hill, water pressure is lost in the overtaxed main, regardless of the amount of water above the houses. Where the water supply comes from a distant location and supply pipes dead end on the hill, unnecessary use of too many outlets below the fire area simply drains the water out of the upper system. We have considered water, wind, and weather. Now there's the very real problem of how a house is constructed and where. Suppose we live in a house above the congestion of the neighborhood below, or in a stilt house built over the brush, or in a typical home with a combustible roof, wide, low eaves to catch sparks and fire, and a big picture window to let the fire inside. Under any such conditions, there's not much of a chance. In 1959, experts from the National Fire Protection Association surveyed portions of Los Angeles. They found a mountain range within the city, combustible roofed houses closely spaced in brush-covered canyons and ridges, serviced by narrow roads. They called it a design for disaster. They predicted the Bel Air fire, plus others which are sure to come, unless citizens and city officials work together on a definite plan of fire defense. The prediction was nothing new to firemen. They have their own ideas about people who don't like water pumping stations or fire stations in their neighborhood because they feel that they're unsightly. Or homeowners who refuse to cut brush away from homes because it mars the natural beauty of the hills. And those groups who maintain to the last glowing ember that combustible roofs are not hazardous in fire areas, despite the fact that over 600 cities have outlawed them. Firefighters are thankful that such is not the thinking of the majority of citizens. But it does not take a majority to start a fire or to feed a conflagration that burns out the careful along with the careless. You are only as safe as your neighbor. When you live in a hazardous area, you're gambling that fire won't start from hot ashes, a cigarette, children with matches, a faulty chimney, auto accidents, a firebug, fallen wires, or lightning. These are the odds. If you win, you get to keep what you already have. If you lose, fire, the winner, takes all.
And here we are in Oakland, driving through the fire area.
It's all burned up here in the fire.
There's a car there. There's Ron. Hey, how'd you get in the car?
I just phased in.
There you are.
Later I'll phase back out. Hey,
this property is not abandoned.
Hey, they got that one half built already.
And these are just the border areas. All their plants made it. Excavating, land clearing, a phone number, and a name. Hi, guys.
Howdy. Get out of here.
Unknown house right in the middle of all that.
Yeah, that's kind of strange, isn't it? Wow.
Everything just burned to the ground.
And there they are, tile roofs. Ah, look at them, nice and green, still going. The tile roofs are the ones that made it.
This one had a tile roof. I saw pieces of broken tile roof on the ground. Or garden hose.
Well, they tried to water it down. That's a nice staircase. Well, that was a nice place one time.
Yeah.
But it will be better when they rebuild it. Dude, that was nice though. Look at that.
Oh yeah, staircase.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you can kind of notice that along the hillside, wherever there's the inclination, the fire pattern looks a little bit more erratic, like could burn the house but leave some bushes next to it. And the wind can make it behave very erratically, and it can start spot fires down in the canyon or whatever. But the thing is, the spot fires, they grow into one big fire, especially in the amount of time that it takes to burn down a house. So when I was looking at the drone footage of Paradise, it just didn't make any sense because those were all flat areas, and the fire should have burned and started growing in size until it became one large fire. Because if those are all just spot fires, which were carried from the fire out in the hills, how come they could level all these buildings? Because it doesn't take a matter of seconds that, just a few short minutes, your house is going to be gone. It takes a little bit longer than that. And especially if there's all these high winds, like they're saying, on a flat ground, it just seems like it would grow and spread. See, they're like walking on this flat area right now, and that's the most destruction. It's like the path of the fire, it took out everything. You don't see anything standing. It's just rubble. And they're not on a hillside anymore. So, I mean, I'm not a fire expert, but we should be talking to fire experts. We should get their opinion. Conflagration experts, fire behavior analysts, firefighters. Because, I mean, look at this footage. Look at that. They are on the flat area, and that's the most destruction. There's no trees, no bushes, nothing is left standing. So the footage I took of the drones in Paradise, it makes no sense. That there was like a house, all the houses were burned down, and then in the middle there's some green trees, and you notice that all over the town. That makes no sense. If this was just a wildfire, it would have taken out those trees and all that brush in the center. I mean, if a fire is on a flat ground and there's just like everything is on fire and there's a few trees in the middle, do you think that those trees are really not going to catch fire? When everything around it is on fire? The house? The winds? I mean, the winds would spread it alone. I mean, it's like they're giving themselves away. They're saying how high the winds are and how dry it was. Okay, well then when you have fire traveling over this flat area, the winds should have made damn sure that those trees in the center were taken out too. You see what I'm saying? So this just makes no sense. And now I'm going to show you some pictures of these are recent fires, because let me tell you how hard it was to actually find this footage I'm showing you of the Oakland fire and the 1961 Bel Air fire. And this is 91. Interesting. So anyway, try to search yourself for old footage of wildfires. It's very hard because the only thing that comes up is the campfire. I swear you not. I did Google searches, I did DuckDuckGo searches on that search engine that doesn't track you, and I could not find this footage. It took me like hours basically of weeding through all this stuff to find these old fires. I had to go on Wikipedia and look at lists of all the fires that happened in history and just pick a year and search for it, pick a year and search for it, and I couldn't find it. So now I'm going to show you how these fires burn, even though they're questionable also how they started. With this new technology we have and Agenda 21, but you'll be able to see how where there's a house burning down, all the trees around it are burning too. So I'm going to show you that right now. So you can see here the trees are burning next to the house. And this is a neighborhood that's burning, and it looks like everything in its path in the flat neighborhood has caught on fire. Everything in its path in a straight line. See, that tree's not going to be spared. All those trees you can see are burning. That house, no tree around that house is going to be spared. That is how fire behaves on flat ground. I also wanted to show you, when viewing a forest fire from a distance, you'll see, look at those little fire patches. Now let's compare this footage of K-Pics and notice how it just looks like smoke and you don't see any fire patches, and you only see a line of fire. Now, I don't know exactly what's going on here, but I did speak to a fire expert who worked in the profession, who told me that it does look like it could be a fire line. And a fire line is something they create to get rid of the fuel. So when the fire reaches that line, it has already burned the fuel. And this footage was taken the day of the campfire, when people were losing their lives and could barely make it out alive because the state was busy refusing air attack help, which could have helped clear the path to escape. Apparently they were making fire lines in the hill and fighting the fire out there. Or were they starting the fire? I mean, did they use heli torching to start the fire while they let people die and animals die because they wanted to refuse help? And did they really just, I mean, what is going on? We have to ask these questions. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm sorry it was a very long one. Please, if you're questioning things like I am, maybe try to take a look at, compare some footage of old fires, because this is the point I want to make. It's not possible to have fire be so selective, and on top of all the anomalies we're seeing, we are also seeing the state and basically a neglect of protecting human life and animal life. So this is serious. Okay, take care.